This is the third game in the Mythic trilogy from Eric M. Lang, which covers Gods of Egypt and everything around that.
Doesn't matter, let's just review it. This is the review for the board game Ankh Gods of Egypt, the good and bad about it.
By the end of this video, you will know if you care if this is the third game in the trilogy by Eric M. Lang.
You don't care, we know that already. What you don't know is how we will answer to these 6 burning questions about this game. But before we do that, Yanis, what is this game all about?
Are you gonna stop me again while I'm saying? So
Probably.
This is the third?
No.
It's about Gods of Egypt.
It is.
In Ankh Gods of Egypt, each of you are a god of Egypt.
What?
Mind blown. And your goal as a god of Egypt is to be devoted to and get the most devotion, and the first player to get to the max wins. Or if the game ends, then who has gotten farthest wins. Or if people are not devoted enough, if you don't go past the red and the game ends, then you are forgotten. What was I saying?
On your turn, you pick 2 actions. Move this token 1 space towards the end here and do that action. Actions are moving, getting followers, recruiting new people.
Or mythic creatures.
Or mythic creatures, yes. And the last thing is getting Ankh power, which improves your god's power, as well as sometimes it gives you new creatures to use in the game. 4 actions, that's all you do.
Easy peasy. But where does the conflict happen? Because there is conflict. Surprise! It's a game of conflict. Because gods are not best friends.
No, especially not those 2 guys. They hate each other.
They don't even talk to each other for eons now. So each time the action tracker is gonna get to the end, you're gonna trigger an event. For events, there's a separate track which tells you what event is going to happen. You just move forward and resolve that event.
There are 3 different events on this track, and whenever you move on a specific event, that thing happens. And what are those things that happen?
The first one is you can take a control of a neutral monument. So if nobody controls it, you can take control of it.
It's the main way you get victory points, as well as it's the main way you get more followers.
And followers are basically currency for which you buy new powers.
In simple terms, the more you have them, the better.
The more of everything you have, the better in this game.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
It's pretty much the tagline. Ankh, Gods of Egypt, the more of everything you have, the better game.
It's in the small print under the title there. You'll see it when you see it.
So the second event is the conflict event, which is the most important because that's how you actually get devotion. So what happens in the conflict phase?
This big and epic conflict happens very simply. Each player involved in that region just plays 1 card.
And you just count how many figures you have. Yes, even this big guy just counts as 1 figure, and this counts as 1 figure, and this one counts as 1 figure. Unless they have some special abilities or you have unlocked some special abilities. But by default, they're all equal.
You just play 1 card and hope the other player will play a card that complements your card and not the other way around. And you go through all of those regions, check where you win, you get points for that, you get points for temples you control, and if at any point somebody reaches the end track of the devotion track, the game ends, and the one who was there first wins.
Yeah. And the last event, 1 player who triggered that event is going to take 6 camels and just divide 1 region into 2 different regions and put an X number into it. So there's more ways to score devotion points. That's basically it, except for 1 big thing that we didn't tell you about is merging of gods.
Dun, dun, dun. What happens when you get to that spot where it says merge 2 gods? The 2 gods that are at the bottom of this track, are losing this game at this point, are merging together. They are now a team, they work together, you share powers and things, and now work together to defeat everybody else. So now it's like a team game versus individual players.
Do you know which is the most preferred god for merging?
Oh.
Ra. It's because it's easier to make names within. For example, if you merge Ra and Amun, it's Ramun. Or if you merge Ra and Anubis, it's Ranubis. It's very simple. I mean, Anubis and Osiris, very tough to merge. Anubis-Osiris, it's just very...
But we're gonna talk a lot more about this game in this video, so we should move on to the first question, which is...
Who would you get this for?
2, 1. Quick-paced and non-painful combat lovers. Most of this game is the conflict, I feel like, and it's very quick. We fight for each region, we just play 1 card for each of them, feel really fun and quick. Also, non-painful. Even if you are losing there, you might get points. there.
Yeah.
Even if you lose all your units there, you still can pretty quickly get back up. People that are looking for this area control game that's quick, fun, and not that painful, then this could be right up your alley.
Intro epic non-gamer. It looks very complex, right? And big, so these big miniatures and the board and the powers, when in fact this is a fairly light game.
Absolutely, yeah.
The rulebook's fantastic, and I could teach this like in 10 minutes. And setting up is also quite easy. This is a very accessible but epic game. At least it feels like it. Even non-gamers can easily handle this. What are the best things about this game? So my number 3 is the rules plus. What does plus mean? I'll explain in a moment. It's a very simple game to teach, even though it looks crazy. Also gonna add, there are different scenarios for a game. It adds a little bit of like rule tweaks. Not a lot, it's not a different game, but enough to keep it fresh. And there are different scenarios that are made for a certain amount of players. Just adds replayability right there, without even trying different gods and maybe different mythical creatures that are here. There's a lot of stuff there.
I'll just have to agree with you with number 3, which is, it is simple. I mean, you almost told the whole story here. It is simple, it is nice, and because of that, it plays very, very smoothly. I immediately have to go with the second thing.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's merger. I really, really enjoy this mechanism. I have heard a lot of criticism about it. Ooh, it's number 1. Wow.
Number 1. You really enjoy it, but I really
enjoy it. And I think that is what makes this game unique.
Bing, ding, ding. Exactly. I was thinking, so what is the one thing that it differs from other area control games? That's that.
It makes end of the game much, much closer than it would be any other way. Somebody might be like running away with the victory, but then the merger happens and the merged gods are that tiny bit stronger than the lead one, and it's easier to, catch up. Just excitement before the merger, after the merger is really, really fun. I like everything about it.
Those two players, they almost like playing a different game. They like a team and then discuss every turn. That merger is the one thing that makes this stand out from everything else. I just keep putting this for the last few games we've been doing it. But since I was a kid, I really loved Egyptian like mythology. And this game is bright and colorful, and the big minis, obviously they're overproduced, but they look really, really nice. And the creatures, and is just, I wouldn't say this is the most thematic game ever, but everything just kind of helps that. I like the art and the minis and everything about this.
I just can't help falling in love with this mechanism, which is the combat mechanism in this game. The thing is, it's so simple, yet there are so many decisions that you need to make before playing that one card. You have 7 cards, and all players have the same 7 cards, and whenever you play a card, it stays there on the table, so everybody sees what you have already played in any other combats. So it's always this, should I sacrifice this fight to get my cards up and then win other fights? The other person has overwhelming forces in this area, so I will lose. But there's one card where I get points for every unit I sacrifice there, so it completely changes everything. I really, really enjoyed the combat system.
You're never really in a corner here. So obviously some battles are going to be less good for you and some better, but there's always options. And if you a little bit of planning ahead, you can try to, put it in your favors.
And I'm so interested in even regions that I'm not fighting in. I'm really interested in what you're going to do, what cards you're going to play. If you play this card, you can't use that card against me, and it's like, oh yes! I'm so invested in the combat.
What are the worst things about this game?
In this section, we're gonna talk about the bad things about this game. How worried are we about these bad things from 1 to 5?
1 being and 5 being oh no.
I'll start with the big minis here. There's a lot of them. They look really good. These creatures as well, just interesting and all that. But they don't do much. The creatures have small powers, but in combat, all of them count as like 1 power and that's it. And when you see this game, I guess you might expect a lot more.
You can put them this way, and then they can turn this way, and then they can move from space to space. Do you think a token? Oh yeah, token can do that.
But tokens can't look this good.
That's true. I'm just gonna jump on your bad thing with my bad thing, and then I'll rate it. Price of the game. When we said this is a super easy, well, not super, but easy to get into, accessible, epic game, that might not be true price-wise, because I think it costs a lot of dineros. This game is around $100, which means it is not very accessible. I mean, that's like 2 other games. So I'm gonna give it a 3, because I think it is an issue. But like you said, they look good.
They look
and it
really
wouldn't look
good.
as epic if this was just a token that you move around.
No. The end game. as I said, because of the merger, it's really fun, right? The thing is that at the end, all of the gods will almost have all of their Ankh powers already there. Creatures already will be taken, so there's not much to do at the end, except really calculate where I will get points. And it might get a bit grindy at the end, which I didn't enjoy as much as the rest of the game.
But yeah, I agree that by the end of the game, you have everything almost unlocked, and if you merge, you copy the other god's abilities as well. That's it, you have everything. Not much to spend those followers on, except maybe that one card that you can destroy the other player with. So I'd give it actually a 1 as well.
The big deal is that
that's a very big deal.
Is that the rest of the game feels like I'm upgrading, I'm getting new stuff. You know, I'm getting better and better. But the end game is I can't do that anymore. It's just about, you know, the fights. Which I agree is a 1. Yeah, could be a 1, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the options. Yes.
Thank you. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna pick 1 like I did.
Yeah, I think that's it. We should move on from these bad things, so we don't feel that bad.
Okay.
To the next question, which is,
how long is the honeymoon?
3, 2, 1.
I have door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. Which door are you gonna pick?
Number 2.
Number 2? Yeah. So the honeymoon is going to be long. Since it's easy, it's gonna be long. Door number 1 was 5 games, and then you go looking for an expansion. And then the number 3 is so many scenarios, plus rules, long. So what I'm trying to say here depends what kind of person you are. I'd probably play 5 games and go looking for expansion. Because I'm like, okay, I've seen this before. But if this is one of your first epic games, this might be a very long honeymoon, and you might not want anything else. We just spoiled these gamers, like, I've already played it twice, I need new stuff.
Yeah, I wrote down that it's not on my regular shelf. That's gonna be a game where with my regular gaming group I'm gonna go back and back again. But I find that it would be really fun to try out with different people. Somebody comes over that hasn't played area control games before. This is a perfect game that could introduce them to this system. If you have like a lot of friends that, you know, you would like to show this mechanism to, perfect game for that.
It's a simple game to pull out and play from time to time. If you're looking for something heavier but not like 4 or 5 hours, this is the game for you. And if you're a gamer, you'll probably need an expansion before long. What is the best alternative? Are you ready?
Yep. 3, 2, 1. The game we both can compare it very easily to is Kemet, because, well, it's about temples, getting control of them with miniatures in Egypt, so it's very,
also
very
has
close.
Scorpion.
Where I find the big differences, I enjoy combat much more here. I find it much more like thrilling and interesting. Where Kemet is better, in my opinion, is the market thing.
Oh, where the special powers?
Yeah, special powers, and it makes all the players feel unique and different from all others. Because here, it all feels very like samey.
But that one definitely rules-wise is more complex. The first thing that came to my mind was there was this game Sons of Anarchy a while ago, and it's being reprinted now. I think it's called Wise Guys, but I'm not sure. I'll post it in the comments. And it has this feel of gangs and the miniatures on the board and, you know, controlling, yet it's a really light game. You have this gang, it's a worker placement, you place workers in different spaces, get stuff, you can trade stuff, and then if somebody else goes, you have a shootout there, because not two can go. So that's the closest I could get. But obviously a better alternative, without doubt, is Kemet. What is the final rating? I think mine's gonna be lower than yours.
Okay.
I think.
3, 2, 1. Really good.
Dang it, no. I thought mine would be higher. I have almost fantastic. I think this is fantastic if the price was more accessible. If this would be like $60, I'd get this immediately, and this would be an epic game to go to and play quite often, I'd actually say, at least at first, before I need an expansion. But since this is that expensive, and Kemet is, I think, way less expensive, I have Kemet right now. Other than that, it is a very accessible, almost fantastic, epic game.
I think we almost rated it the same, because I wanted to write really good, which is almost fantastic.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same.
It's the same thing. And it comes down to that thing, what I said, it's not gonna be on my like regular shelf, right? It's really fun. There's a lot of fun things. It's easy to play. Still, there's a lot of tactics too and strategy to being involved. But I'm missing the marketplace, right? I'm missing my uniqueness in this game, and I want a bit more upgrading. Overall, I think it's really, really good. I'm absolutely ready to go again and play this again, and I will love it. I'm not gonna buy it. Those $100 are, you know, a no for me. But this is really, really, really good game. A fun game.
And if price point is not a problem for you, then get
this.
it.
Yeah, for sure.
Get it.
Especially if you find that area control is something you want to explore and show it off to other people. Perfect game for that. Perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was our review. I hope you know if this game is for you.
Like, subscribe, and do check out our Patreon page. Thank you very much. We couldn't do this without you guys.
And in this video, there might have been or might not have been a secret message from our Patreons. But if you want a secret message in our videos, then go to our Patreon page.